Hello students, welcome to English class. Today we are dealing with a story and the title of our story is The Two Magicians by Satyajit Ray. This story has been extracted from a story by Satyajit Ray and translated into English by Goba Manjumdar. And the entire action of the story take place inside a train carriage and revolves around a strange incident involving a young and ambitious magician named Surapati and his first teacher of magic, Tribhuracharan Malik. So before starting our chapter, let's familiarize with the author Satyajit Ray, 1921 to 1992. So he was an acclaimed filmmaker and master storyteller, and his famous film was Padar Panjali, and it won 11 international awards. And he was also a publisher, illustrator, music composer, and film critic. So that's all about the author. Now let's start our chapter. The Two Magicians. Surapati Mandal, a famous Bengali magician, is traveling to Lucknow for a big show. Sitting inside the train carriage, Surapati falls into a river, remembering the magicians who had inspired him. His first teacher had been Tribhuracharan Malik, a very simple man who had a special trick of making a coin go rolling towards a ring and bringing both of them back to the magician. Read on to find out what happens on this train journey. So I already tell you that the entire action of the story take place inside a train carriage. Surapati Mandal, he was a famous Bengali magician and he is traveling to Lucknow for performing his first show outside Kolkata. So he is sitting inside the carriage and he fall into a daydream that's about the magicians who had inspired him. And his first teacher is Tribhuracharan Malik. And he is remembering the trick made by his teacher Tribhuracharan Malik. Surabadi came out of his river with a start. The train had just begun to pull out of the station when a man opened the door of his carriage from outside and clambered in. Surabadi was about to protest that the seats were reserved, but one look at the man's face made him stop short in amazement. Good God, it was Tribhura Babu, Tribhura Charan Malik. So he was already in daydreaming and he just came out of those thoughts in the train. Now the train has just begun to run, and a man opened the door of his carriage and climbed in with difficulty. Surabadi was about to protest that the seats were already reserved and why are you coming here? But when Surabadi looked at the man's face, he was amazed. He was surprised. Now he was quite surprised by looking at the man's face. Now he realizes that it was his first teacher, Tribhura Babu, Tribhuracharan Malik. Surapati remained speechless. He didn't say anything. Tribhura Babu placed the bundle he was carrying on the bench opposite and sat down. Then he looked at Surapati and smiled, surprised. Now, Tribhura Babu, he was carrying a bundle and he kept that bundle on the bench opposite and he sat down. Now, he looked at Surapati and smiled to him and said, "Are you surprised?" Surapati swallowed hard. Yes, I'm surprised. In fact, I wasn't sure that you were still alive. So Surapati was difficult to speak and he said that I'm surprised and he was shocked because he had heard of Tribhura Babu's death years ago. Really? Tribhura Babu said, really? Yes, I went to your boarding house soon after I finished college. I found your room locked. The manager told me you had been run over by a car. Now, Surapati is telling to his teacher that he went to his boarding house after he finished his college and he found that his room was locked and the manager told me that you had been killed or injured. Surapati had felt disappointed not to have met Tripura Babu, but the feeling did not last long. His mind was too full of dreams of his own future, to travel and have shows everywhere, to be a name everyone recognized, to hear applause and praise wherever he went. So, that time Surapati felt really disappointed that he was not able to meet his teacher, but that feeling he did not feel sad so long, but his mind was full of dreams about his own future, and he wanted to become a great magician, to travel, to have shows everywhere, everyone recognized and praised wherever he went. He wanted all these things. Tripura Babu was staring out of the window, preoccupied. Surpati looked at him closely. He did seem to have fallen on hard times. His hair had turned grey, his eyes sagged, and his eyes had sunk deep into their sockets. However, the look in his eyes was startlingly piercing. Now, Tripura Babu was looking out of the window, and here preoccupied means he was worried and distracted. Now, Surapati looked Tripura Babu very closely, and he seems that he was going through a very difficult time because of financial hardship. So, Tripura Babu's appearance revealed prolonged hardship. His hair had turned grey, his eyes had fallen deep into sockets, and the look in his eyes was extremely sharp. Tripura Babu turned to Surapati and said in a mild tone, I have come today only to make a request. My financial condition is not sound. I know a lot of tricks, but I haven't yet learned the trick of making money. I know the only reason for this is my lack of ambition. Now I do not have the strength to try to make my own living. All I am sure of is that you will help me even if it means making a sacrifice. Now, Tripura Babu is telling why he came here, why he came to Surabadi that day. Now, then he is telling to his student that his financial condition is not so good, and he know a lot of tricks, but he didn't learn the trick of making money. And he is telling that why he couldn't make money because he didn't have that ambition. So now he don't have the strength to make his own living, and he's saying to Sarupati that you will help me or make any sacrifice for me. Sarupati was puzzled. What kind of help did the man want? So by hearing this, Sarupati was quite surprised, and what this man is talking about. What kind of help does the man want? Tribhuda Babu went on, You see, it is not just money that I want. I want to perform on a stage before a large audience. I want to show them my best trick. This may be the first and last time, but I cannot put the thought of my mind. Now, Tribhuda Babu said that it is not just the money that I want. I want to do some performance in front of a large audience, and I want to show my best trick I have. And he said that it may be impossible, that this may be my first and last time, but I want to perform in front of a large audience. Surapati waited with bated breath. Tribhuda Babu finally came to the point. You are going to perform in Lucknow, aren't you? Suppose you fall ill at the last moment. Suppose someone else takes your place. So now Tribhuda Babu came to the point, and he asked to Surapati that you are going to perform in Lucknow, and he requested Surapati to feign illness and allow him to perform instead. Surapati was completely taken aback. What on earth was Tribhuda Babu saying? He really must be desperate, or he wouldn't have come up with such a bizarre proposal. Surapati was surprised and what he is talking about, what his teacher is talking about. He was not able to understand. He was not getting anything Tribhuda Babu was saying. Now, Surapati thought that maybe his teacher, he wouldn't have hoped to make money. Otherwise, he wouldn't have come up with such a strange or unusual proposal. Tribhuda Babu continued. All you need to do is tell people you cannot perform due to an unavoidable reason, but that your place will be taken by your guru. Would people be heartbroken? I don't think so. I do believe they would enjoy my show. I propose you take half of the proceeds of the first evening. I would be quite happy with the rest. After that, you can go your own way. I will never disturb you again. But you must give me this opportunity, Sripadi, just this once. Now, Tribura Babu said him that you have to tell the people that you cannot perform, and at your place, your guru will perform. And Tribura Babu said that people will like my show also. Then he says that whatever money that we will receive from the show, half of the money you can take off the first evening, and rest whatever money we will have, I will keep that. Then you can go your own way and I will never disturb you again. Now he is requesting to his student to give him this opportunity to perform in front of large audience. Impossible. Surapati grew angry. You don't know what you are saying. This is the first time I am going to perform outside Bengal. Can't you see how much this show means to me? Do you really expect me to begin my new career with a lie? Now, Surapati, he could not control his anger, and he wondered how Tribura Babu could expect him to excuse himself from his very first show outside Kolkata, that too with a lie. Tripura Babu gave him a level look. Then his voice cut across the railway carriage, rising clearly above all the noise. Are you still interested in that old trick with the coin and ring? Now, Tripura Babu gave him a cold stare. He just looked him, and then he asked that, are you still interested in that old trick? Surapati started, but the look in Tribura Babu's eyes did not change. He smiled faintly. If you accept my proposal, I will teach you the trick. If you don't, and if I don't, Surapati asked softly, you will regret it. If I happen to be present among the audience, I do have the power to cause any magician, a lot of embarrassment. I can even make him completely helpless. So now Surapati was surprised, and Tribura Babu said that if you accept my proposal, I will teach you the trick, and if you don't accept my proposal, you will regret it. And here Tribura Babu tried to bribe him by promising to teach him a coin and ring magic trick which he always wished to learn. And he also warned Surapati that if he did not comply, he had the power to ruin the show from the audience side. Saying this, Tribura Babu took out a pack of cards from his pocket. Can you take this knave from the back and bring it forward to rest on this three of clubs in just one movement of your hand? So by saying this, to demonstrate his power, Tribura Babu dared Surapati to perform a simple card trick. Sirupati took the pack of cards and realized that his fingers were turning numb. Soon his whole arm felt paralyzed. In a daze, he looked at Tribura Babu. His mouth was twisted in a queer smile and his eyes started straight into Sirupati's. The look in them was almost inhuman. Little bits of perspiration broke out on Sirupati's forehead. His whole body began to tremble. Now, Surapati realized that numbness was taking over his body as Tribura Babu kept gazing in a strange manner. Now, he was not able to do that. His fingers were turning numb. Turning numb means losing the power of sensation. So, when he touched the card, he was not able to feel it. And what he noticed next is his whole arm is paralyzed. Paralyzed means he was not able to move his arm, and his vision was losing, and he has not able to see Tribura Babu, and his mouth was twisted and his smile was very strange. There was no kindness in Tribura Babu's eyes, and his whole body began to tremble. He was shaking. Do you now believe in my power? Now Tribura Babu said again, now you believe in my power. How much powerful I am. The pack of cards fell from Surapati's hands. Tribura Babu picked it up neatly and said, will you now agree to my proposal? So because of that, the pack of cards fell from Surapati's hand, and Tribura Babu picked it and asked that, will you allow me to perform in Lucknow? Surapati began to feel a little better. The numbness was passing. Will you really teach me that old trick? He asked wearily. Tribura Babu said, your guru, Mr. Triburacharan Malik, shall perform in your place in Lucknow because of your sudden illness. Is that right? Yes, you will give me half of your earnings that evening. Right, yes. Well then, Surpati fished out of a 50 paisa coin from his pocket and took off his coral ring. Wordlessly, he handed them over to Tripura Babu. So, when he said this, Surapati began to feel better, and very slowly that numbness that was passing, and Surapati asked his teacher, "Will you really teach me that old trick?" Now, Tripura Babu said that if you allow me to perform in your place in Lucknow, I will teach you the trick. Then Surapati said yes, and he agreed to the plan. He then took off his coral ring, pulled out a 50 coin from his pocket, and passed them over to Tripura Babu. When the train stopped at Burdwan, Anil, Surpadi's assistant, appeared with a cup of tea and found his boss fast asleep. Now the train stopped at the station, and Surpadi's assistant, named Anil, arrived with a cup of tea and found that his boss was sleeping. "Sir," said Anil hesitantly. Surpadi woke instantly. "Where is Tribura Babu?" "Tribura Babu?" Anil sounded perplexed. "Oh, no, no. He was run over, wasn't he? Way back in 1951. But where is my coral ring?" "It is on your finger." Sripati put his hand in his pocket and took out a coin. Anil noticed that his employer's hands were trembling. "Anil," Sripati called, "come here. Now watch this." Now Anil called Surapati Babu, and he woke instantly, and he asked that where is Tribura Babu, and Surapati was surprised not to find Tribura Babu around. Then Anil reminded him that Tribura Babu had passed away in an accident in 1951, and Surapati noticed that his coral ring was intact on his finger, and that coin was still in his pocket. And Anil noticed that his employer's hands were trembling. Now Sripati called Anil to watch the coin and ring trick. Sripati placed the ring at one end of the bench and the coin at the other. He turned his chair fully on the coin, just as he had been taught a few minutes ago. The coin began rolling towards the ring, and then both coin and ring rolled back to Surapati like a couple of obedient children. Anil would have dropped the cup and broken it if Surapati had not stretched out a hand at the last moment and caught it mid-air. So now Surapati tried to perform the coin and ring trick, and it worked so brilliantly that Anil could have dropped the cup had Surapati not caught it mid-air. Tirupati began his show in Lucknow by paying tribute to his late Guru Tribhuracharan Malik. The last item he presented that evening was introduced as true Indian magic, the trick of the coin and the ring. Now they reached at Lucknow. Later at the show, Sripati paid a tribute to his Guru Tribhuracharan Malik, and he also ended the show with the coin and ring trick, which he introduced as true Indian magic. So that's all about the story. I think it is clear to you. See you in the next class with another video. Thank you.